I
Yeah.
appreciate it. This is a real treat. And, my rep at the label said, hey, we've got Deana Carter doing some promo time. I went, oh my God, because I'm not unlike anybody else where, in the summer of 1996, I could take you in Peterborough, Ontario, where I was driving when Strawberry Wine came on the radio, on the radio station in that town. And I've never forgotten about that.
Oh, wow. That's so sweet. Isn't that sweet that we have those memories? It's just, that's what music can do. It doesn't matter what it is. There's certain, so I can every night, because I have to say about Strawberry Wine, people 25 years later, that's what we're celebrating, right? And people will say, do you ever get sick of singing it? How do you get through all these years of doing the songs? And we do focus mostly on the first record because I've done like 9 and no one cares. We all go back to number 1, which I'm totally happy with. But I can literally go back to a moment, like whatever the song brings up. Every song on that album, it was such an authentic record, and the songs were written or chosen from such a real place. I can go back to when my little brother was 8 years old, and it takes me somewhere different in my memory every night that we sing the songs, every night. So I totally relate.
There's a question I was thinking about coming in, because on the record, and again, 25 years since Did I Shave My Legs for This, and Strawberry Wine is such a benchmark, a staple song for music fans, let alone country music fans. And there's other hits on the record, but I'll ask you the question I probably would have saved to the end, just based on what you said. Of all the songs on Did I Shave My Legs for This,
Mm-hmm.
What's the song you would love people 25 years later to go find?
It's so hard to pick one. It truly is. I would have to say Before We Ever Heard Goodbye. It was an album track. It wasn't a single, but it was the precursor to Strawberry Wine. It was the backstory. It was before the heartbreak, before the love loss and all that time of innocence that is preserved. And I covered that with Chuck Jones. And so when I found Strawberry Wine and pulled it in together, it was just like, oh my gosh, here's the before and here's the after. So if you listen to those stories, I say stories because they are, if you listen to those songs back to back, I would start with Before We Ever Heard Goodbye and then go to Strawberry Wine, because that is the order. Like now they do, movies in reverse, right? They'll have one and then film the one that should have been first. That was kind of what I would say about Before We Ever Heard Goodbye.
25 years later, and November 5th, we're going to see a release of a new version of Did I Shave My Legs for This? And I love the fact everything's remastered, and there's a couple of songs that have been redone, and you've special friends along, and I'd love to know who.
Oh my goodness, this is so cool. We've got new videos that were shot over in the UK that no one's ever seen. I was in my early 20s, so I'm so excited. The world gets to see No Wrinkles on Me.
Oh, come on.
I hope everyone thinks that that's me now. That's what I hope. But there's videos, there's songs that I wrote leading up to the record that never got put on the albums. Those are cool. So some digital media and behind the scenes. So there's really a huge expansion for your, what you're getting on this 25th anniversary coming on Friday. But for the re-recordings, we did Strawberry Wine and Did I Shave My Legs for This? And we pulled in Martina McBride, who I always looked up to. She came out first. I always looked up to her. Ashley McBride and Lauren Elena, who I had worked with on an ACM thing and really love them. Kylie Morgan, a brand new artist, pulling her in. And then on Shave, we have Sarah Evans and Terry Clark, who I love, adore those women. They're very individual, they're independent, they stand on their own as artists and have maintained their careers all these years and doing great. And Ashley McBride joined them on Shave as well, because they all have a wonderful sense of humor. And then we pulled in Vince Gill to do guitars, a special feature on guitar for Strawberry and Shave as well. So who supported me early on from the get-go. And I had to include him. So it's just so special. I hope radio will play it. I hope that the world will let these girls have their day in the sun on these songs, you know, because they've tipped the hat to my music along the way, and it's so special. So I want them to have their time with it too.
I think it's so great, and I like how you put that. You put them in, you know, and it reminds me in a sense of one of the lyrics out of Humble and Kind that Laurie McKenna wrote and McGraw brought to life. You know, reach back and help the next one in line, right? And it feels like
yes.
But when it comes to pulling Vince Gill in on this, I'm glad you brought that up, because I read a part of a really fascinating article. I think it was in Garden and Gun magazine, and it was Vince Gill's telling of the story of how he discovered Strawberry Wine, where he's driving, hears the song, doesn't know who the artist is, it's you, and that you, I think, you were at a store somewhere, I think, playing acoustic, doing something, and Vince Gill went straight to the store to introduce himself to you. And so what I would love, from the perspective of the person who had the guitar in their hand that day, I would love for you to take the story from Vince Gill walking up to you. How does that feel when you're somebody who's just broken out into the format?
Oh my goodness. It was at Tower Records on West End Avenue in Nashville. And it was our in-store for the release. And they had a bucket of strawberries set aside. I was supposed to stomp them barefoot. We had like this whole thing we were going to do. But we were on the stage, and I remember him walking in the door. And it was just like, wait a second, that looks like Vince Gill. Is that Vince Gill? I'm looking around like, is this happening? And he just was there, like his presence to come in and just quiet. It's so who he is. He's such a humble, wonderful man, and so gifted. Oh my goodness. But for him to be the ambassador of Nashville, especially at the time, he was like on everything, doing everything, having such a big run in his career, and still is, obviously. But it was such an endorsement for the community towards me that he would do that. And so I've just always been so grateful to him for that. I mean, and that doesn't seem like that long ago. Those are the things. That was like, that was the summer or the early fall of 1996. And here we are 25 years later. And it seems like a couple of years ago. So anytime I get to work with Vince, I am on board.
Right. It's funny though, you say, and it's been 25 years, and it's take your grade 9 to work day. And I played for my 14-year-old son, Strawberry Wine. He's heard it on the radio before, but I wanted to give him some context, as to what it is we're about to do. And I don't mean to go for the low hanging fruit here and go with the pun, but Strawberry Wine really has aged well. And the impact it has. So 25 years later, what do you think it is? Why does that still resonate as well as it does?
Well, I think it's two things. I think that number one, it's such a universal message, and it's an authentic message that came from the heart, from the writers, and from me, from the singer, connecting to it. But I also feel like all of the listeners, the fans that connected to it, they could be in grade 9 when they heard it, or they could be in high school or in college or whatever, and now they're married, or they have kids or even grandkids, and it's taken on because it was love for them. It was a connection for them, that it's taken on this generational thing where it's handed down. So the kids of those people are so connected to it, and they love it because their parents loved it, and they're starting to experience those things. It's like this recyclable experience process that is going to happen for every person that comes through. Everyone's going to have a heartbreak everyone's going to have a first love, a first experience, and cling to our youth. We're always going to do that. So I think the nostalgia is very current. I think the nostalgia is always ever present in our lives. And that is just something that will never age. My son is now the age of the song. And he's 17. And so I'm like, wait a second, where are you going? What are you doing? So it's not lost on me. I'm so grateful. And I see that, I started a hashtag this week on socials, and it's hashtag strawberry wine crew. Who is your strawberry wine crew? Because it's like groups of girls come to the show with their t-shirts and banners, and because they were in middle school or young together when it came out, and there's this bond over the song. It's just, and they're all singing, and guys as well. It is, I think Kid Rock said in some interview, Rolling Stone or something, that Strawberry Wine was his song with the girls. I don't know, but it's those kind of things that it connects with everybody, and it goes back to the origin of it connected with me like that. It connected Matrace and Gary writing it the way they did. It's just very honest.
Well, I'm so glad that you brought that song to life, and you brought the album to life, that I Shaved My Legs for This, and you've done it a second time with the re-release on November. I could, and I'd be happy to take your entire day and talk music, because to be able to do this and have a conversation with you for a living is amazing. I feel I owe the company money for being able to come and do this today. It's been a real treat.
Me too.
It's been a real treat.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Now,
and you tell your son he's got some big shoes to fill.
Oh boy, his feet. He's a big boy. One final quick thought on the way to the door. You have to go. I've read through my research that strawberry wine is actually not that true.
It's not that what?
That palatable. It's not that good to drink.
Oh, well, I will tell you, they are kind of stepping up in the quality of strawberry wine. They really are. And now that rosé is in, rosé is like the thing. So you can sort of mimic strawberry wine with rosé and put a strawberry in it. That counts. But it's definitely coming up a few notches in the ranks. I have some in the fridge that was a gift. And I've signed 1 million bottles, as you can imagine, of strawberry wine for people. But I am waiting. I'm going to pop the top on that Friday on release day, I think, when we have our live stream with the fans. And we'll have a taste test online and see how that goes. So
good idea. Where do fans find that live stream?
That you can go to Deana.com or any of my socials on the blue check is me, Deana Tunes on Instagram, Deana Sings on Twitter. Will be live, so you can check those out.
All right, excellent. Deana Carter, congrats on this. Thank you for your time. And do I ever wish I could be at that show on November 18th at the Ryman, which is about as great a live music venue as there is on the planet.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and congrats again.
Thank you.